What's up, everybody? We are here with the Deeper Podcast. It's Holy Week.
Holy Week.
I thought you were about to. I knew you were going to start singing. I was waiting for you to burst out in song.
Yeah, I don't know what I almost did. I'm probably glad I didn't. Whatever it was, it is Monday morning. Hey, and you're gonna probably see this earlier than you usually do on a Monday. I know Paige last week was like, "I love watching this on our lunch break," and we got it posted at like 9 p.m. last week. So I was like, "I hope you had a late lunch, Paige." So it every week is a little bit different, right? Just because of our rhythms here, but. We're recording early, and it sounds like I just woke up, but I'm actually just a little under the weather, so there's that.
It's all right. It's going to be good.
I was telling y'all, I talked to Cody Castellaw, who ran sound for us yesterday, and he said, yeah, you started preaching, and I always try to dial you in EQ, and I was like, he sounds kind of weird today, and I kept adjusting stuff, then I realized, oh, he's just sick. And I was like, yep, this is just how my voice sounds, so there you go.
So I'm sitting next to him, so you won't see me in a few days.
I've been coughing on him nonstop this morning.
Yeah.
Speaking of not seeing you for a few days,
where
you been, bro?
We actually switched mics.
I licked this one and handed it to you. Where you been?
I've been in my office.
Well, that's true too, but I'm talking. So Miss Barbara, who is an avid listener as well.
Miss Barbara, I brought this cup just for you for proof.
As proof. Miss Barbara was like, "What'd y'all do with Bryce? Did he get fired? Did you she didn't ask that, but she did notice. You just because of announcements and stuff, you hadn't been on the platform in a week or two, and then you weren't at you were not here for the podcast. And she's like, "What's going on?" And I said, "He's actually at a
conference."
Yeah, so look at this. Look at this beautiful mug here.
Hashtag Ginsend.
This beautiful mug and this beautiful mug.
Hashtag Ginsend. No,
Two beautiful mugs here.
We were in Atlanta. I was thinking technically last night, it was still the same week of the longest week of my life. But anyways.
So what'd you do? Tell me about Atlanta. Tell
Sunday.
Me what this conference was, who put it on, who'd you go with, some other Central alums. I want all the details, but I only want it to be about a minute and a half.
I can do a minute and a half. Me, Reed, and Aubrey. Reed is in Livingston, and Aubrey is in Jasper.
Both youth pastors.
Both youth ministers, yep. All three of us are from here. We're all Daniel's alumni of Daniel.
You're the best. That's why you're still here at Central.
That's why I got the job and they didn't.
Yeah.
And that's just for them, even though they do not watch this.
They don't watch and don't
But anyways.
care. We're not cool enough.
No.
Like, if I wore jerseys and, talked hip, like... if I was like a, old Harris Creek guy, what's his name? Pecluda.
Oh, yeah.
If I was like JP and like wore fancy glasses.
Maybe.
That dude's my age and he acts like he's your age.
He's actually younger than me.
Everyone's like, he's so cool, man. And I'm like, really?
Podcast?
What a dork. All right,
Anyways.
JP, if you're watching, I'd love to drink coffee with you, man.
Hey, you want to come speak at RD now? Anyways.
Let me start the clock back on your minute and a half. Go.
Okay, us three. We got to Livingston on Sunday night. This is not a smart idea. We learned our lesson. We got to Livingston around like 7, 8 o'clock on Sunday night. Woke up about 1:30, 2 o'clock. Drove to Houston. Got on a plane at 4 a.m. Monday morning. Flew to Atlanta, which, because of the time change, it's only like an hour flight, which is kind of nice, technically. And so we got there around like 6 o'clock, and we had a conference put on by the North American Mission Board.
Gotcha.
Yep, this is my first one, so I'm still trying to get it right. North American Mission Board and Shane Pruitt and the guys up there that are part of Ginsend. Caleb, you can zoom in on this.
I'm assuming that means Generation Send.
Yep. Yeah, and so
Ginsend. It's a lot of syllables, so they have to shorten.
Shane Pruitt is a North American Mission. He's a Dallas guy, lives in Dallas, but he is a part of the North American Mission Board. He's over the youth, kind of pretty much. He's over the next generation for the North American Mission Board, and they have a crazy, awesome, campus in Georgia. And that's where we were at, and so we had a one-day conference. And so we got there. The conference is at 1 o'clock Monday. It finished about 8 o'clock that evening. We were extremely tired, so we left like 30 minutes early. We skipped dinner, and I think I went to the hotel and would sleep at like 9. Like, I was exhausted. And we woke up the next morning on Tuesday and had the conference again, and then left the conference around like 4 o'clock and got on a plane and got back to Houston Tuesday. So it was a quick one-day conference, but it was pretty awesome. It was kind of refreshing for all of us just to kind of stop, unwind. We learned some things. It was great, but it wasn't more of like here's some teaching things to take back. It was more of like, hey, focus on what you're doing.
Yeah, it was built to encourage youth pastors, not really give you tools.
Exactly.
Yeah. Almost almost a retreat more than
almost.
I
had
training.
worship and some great speakers about some things that every minister, regardless of what you're in, kind of needs to hear, especially in April. So that was a big thing. The coolest thing for me was talking about, which I like how they do it in April. It's hard to make it because it's the busiest time of the year for youth ministry, because you're gearing up for summer. But a big thing they talked about was just burnout. How to keep on track and not neglect the last few Wednesday nights, not neglect the last few weeks. Because it's easy for us just to focus on what we're doing in the summer and forget these past few weeks or these next few weeks. So that was really impactful for me. So it was good, man. Made some awesome connections all the way in Georgia. A bunch of guys we know and know people and Southeast Texas connections. So it was pretty awesome.
There you go.
We were the country guys, which was funny because we were in Georgia.
Yeah. It's not surprising to me that y'all were the country guys.
Yeah, we were the country guys.
But you're also modern country because you have long hair.
That's true.
I wouldn't have flown back in the day.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I'll beat you in skeet shooting though.
Yeah.
So. Miss Barbara, this was for you the last few minutes, so that way you know that I'm not fired. I'm still working here.
Still here.
And I was actually just trying to learn some stuff. So.
For now. But anyways, probationary.
Yeah.
So, yeah, glad you're back, man. And we've been back for several days. We had a very productive week here.
We did.
Got after it with redoing our fellowship hall space. It is now officially the Commons. We're going to do a little bit of work this afternoon to kind of get it unset up from the family picnic and kind of set up for what it's going to look like on a week-by-week basis. And we'll share some pictures with that.
We're not leaving the tablecloths?
Yeah, the pink tablecloths are gone, though they were great. My kids were pumped. Easter, we had a great time at the family picnic, by the way.
We did. We did.
A lot of people stayed. We just had a great time as a church family. But, yeah, enjoyed the common space. And definitely as we head into 2 services this week, I think that space is going to be huge for us, for people to kind of be able to mix and mingle between services and get to know each other and still have some connection points at our church. Because one of the biggest concerns people have had is, are we going to lose connection? Well, the Commons is a space that helps build connection instead of lose connection. So excited about what the Lord's going to do this Easter Holy Week. So how long have we been podcasting at this point, Producer Caleb? Does it not have a timer on it? Sorry, Caleb, okay. Caleb's talking about how long we've done the podcast. I meant this episode. How many minutes? Okay, good. So we're doing great. I wanted to leave enough time to talk sermon.
Yeah.
So
it is crazy though. Like it really, I don't know about you. It really feels like it was like last week when we were like, "Hey guys, we're 6 weeks out. 2 services.
Yes.
Get ready for it. It's coming. Just prepare your hearts for it." And it's like, oh my gosh, it's this week.
I think we've had. It's been stressful because that project did suck a lot of our energy and time.
It did.
Getting all that together, ordering stuff, getting that together. So it made time go by really fast.
It did. Yeah.
And now all of a sudden we're here. In fact, yesterday was the first day using the Commons, so we had some new coffee equipment, and Terry and I are in there getting the coffee going. And I looked at my watch and said, "No one's here yet." And it was like 8:40. And I said, "Oh, it's still pretty early." And then we both had the realization, next week we'll be 10 minutes into our first service. And there was nobody on campus other than the praise team and us on this Sunday. So I really am excited, though. I'm excited to see what God's going to do. I'm excited to reach more people. I'm already thinking about the third service, when we'll do that, what that looks like. Don't think that's going to be like, in 6 months, but you start thinking, what does the future look like now?
Yeah.
And I'm already excited about what the Lord's going to do, because I believe that as we continue to invite people and continue to reach people for Christ, that we're going to see just a special move of God in this place. So I'm pumped, and the beginning of that, the genesis of that, is going to be on Resurrection Sunday this week. So really praying for all of our church folks who are inviting people to come, which is wasn't the driving point. It was how we kind of landed the plane for our sermon yesterday, but really hoping that people will pray about someone they can invite to join us on Resurrection Sunday.
Yeah, man. Physically hand that card to somebody.
Yeah.
That's the goal, man.
Well, again, I've shared this stat several times, and I forgot to yesterday at the end of service, but the fact of the matter is, 81% of people say they are at least somewhat interested in attending church, specifically on Easter and Christmas, if invited by somebody they know.
Yep.
So 4 out of 5 cards you hand out, that person is somewhat likely to attend.
100%, man.
And there's this misnomer that people don't want to talk about religion. I think that's something that's been built into, Linus Van Pelt, classic Peanuts comic strip, says, there are 3 things you never talk about with people: religion, politics, and the Great Pumpkin. But it's actually fake. Religion is something people do actually want to engage in, specifically during these seasons, when it's Easter, when it's Christmas, because people do want to know why you do what you do.
Yeah.
Why is Easter such a big deal for us? Why do we stop down everything for Easter? People are curious. They want to know what we believe and why. These are wonderful times to engage in conversations about what it means to know who Jesus is and why we follow him.
Yeah, I'm excited. I have mine, and I thought it was cool. You allowed our church family to go down to the altar and actually pray over those cards, pray over the people that we're thinking about, and so. My wife and I did that, and it was special, and so I'm excited. I got that person, and so man, I'm ready to do it.
Yeah, and I said this yesterday in the sermon, but I want to reaffirm it. I do think people are a little leery sometimes about the awkwardness of those conversations, and I want to just tell you that it's 100% not awkward. So what I said yesterday in the message is I think people kind of act like when you hand that thing to somebody that you're saying, "Hello, lost person, it's me from my seat of superiority telling you that you need to be like me and go to church."
Yeah.
But that is not how it's perceived at all.
Nope.
Instead, say, "Hey, I got a stack of these and we're inviting all of our family and friends." It's like a birthday invitation. Like, no one ever feels weird about inviting someone to a party. This is the most epic party of all time. As we celebrate the resurrection of Jesus Christ, the foundation of our faith, we're inviting people to the party.
Yeah.
So, man, it's just an invitation. It's easy to do, and you don't even have to. If you're worried about engaging in a spiritual conversation, you really don't even have to. Just say, "Hey, my wife grabbed a stack of these, or my husband grabbed a stack of these, and we're just inviting all of our family and friends. If you don't have somewhere to be on Easter, we'd love to have you." And man, I just, yesterday, one of my favorite moments was at the end of service. I said, "How many of you in here are at church because you were invited by somebody?"
Oh, yeah. It was a lot.
And about half the hands in the room go up.
It was a lot, yeah.
And I said, "Okay, so about half of you." And then I said this: "All you who didn't raise your hand, you know why you're here?" And they all looked at me like, "Why?" Because somebody invited your mom or dad or your grandparent or your great-grandparent. That's how this thing got started, because somebody invited you. So not only could you change an individual or a family forever, but you can literally rewrite family histories by handing a card out and inviting them to come be changed by Jesus this weekend. It's amazing.
Man,
so I'm excited for the opportunities, because we have 1,000 of these cards that are going out, and we have a pretty good stack of them over there. So I don't know. There's probably, I'd say there's at least 800 cards that have actively and intentionally been taken out of this church building over the past month.
And we've been seeing them around places too, which is pretty cool. Yeah, I'm excited, man. I think it's going to be good. And I think yesterday was the perfect, how can I say this? It was the perfect setup for this week and the perfect setup for what we're doing this Sunday. And so I was really grateful that you kind of went that direction, not making the whole message about that, but like you said, at the end, you kind of tied it all together by saying, "Hey, now go out and let's do this," And so I think it was a great thing for our and really encouraging. I think that's the most important thing. Really encouraged. You didn't just beat us over the head with the cards, Yeah. Which you said you easily could have done. You could have guilt tripped us.
We could have guilted. Yeah. So here's the thing. So the passage yesterday, just the minute and a half recap, okay? Don't interrupt me like I interrupted you, okay? I'll do it less than that. Jesus saw the crowds and had compassion for them.
Yep.
And the question we asked is, do we have compassion for the lost? And basically the genesis of this whole message was, and really the crux of it was, we have to pray for compassion. We have to ask the Lord to give us compassion, because left to ourselves, we will be prideful and apathetic. We won't be worried about anybody else. We just take care of us. But Jesus saw the crowds and had splanchnizomai, that Greek word that means to be moved at the deepest core of who you are.
Yeah.
Gut-wrenching. And for us to have that kind of feeling for the lost in our lives, Jesus has to change our hearts. So that's what I said yesterday. I could guilt y'all into being like, hey, when's the last time you shared Jesus with somebody? In fact, in the introduction, people were like, oh, man.
Yeah.
Like I could sense it in the room. But guilting people might change their afternoon, maybe change a couple days, but it won't change their life. But the Holy Spirit taking a hardened heart and making you a compassionate evangelist could change your life and the life of hundreds and thousands of people long term because of what he did in your heart yesterday.
Yeah, that was and you made a post this morning, about having a burden. Are you burdened for those around you, that are lost? And so it's
because what we're usually not burdened. What are we usually? Bothered.
Yeah, we're annoyed by it.
Yeah,
and that's me, man. So yesterday, the whole time you were preaching, the whole time, I'm convicted because the most of my daily walk with the people around me, there's so many people that I have around me that are lost, and I have that opportunity, but almost guaranteed every time I'm annoyed by it. I'm annoyed by the things they do. I'm annoyed by the way that they're living. But instead of that, man, I should be the complete opposite. And so yesterday was such an encouraging / convicting message for me personally, in my walk, but I also know that was so true for many of our church members, and it's such a different way to think about your daily life as an opportunity to love these people, to have compassion on them.
Yeah.
And man, I struggle with that big time. And I know a lot of our listeners still struggle with that too. And so, like I said earlier, preparing us for Holy Week, preparing us for Resurrection Sunday, like I think that was such a great tie-in to what our call should be.
Yeah, because Jesus died on the cross not only for us, but for anyone who would come to him, who he would draw to himself.
And
100%. That's the reality is that saying that we use that I think originated with Robbie Gallaty, but it's really an old principle. The gospel came to you because it was heading to somebody else.
Yeah.
Like you were not the end game of the gospel. When you got saved, heaven wasn't like, yay, mission accomplished, like George W. Bush style, mission accomplished, we're done. No. When you got saved, it was so you could continue that mission. So who is it in the margins of your life that needs to know Jesus? And how can you pray about engaging them? Because guess what? This week isn't the end game. When you hand 100%. That card off, you can't say, neat, pat yourself on the back and say, I have compassion. The end. No, this is our life, man. God's called us to look around and see the sheep who are harassed and helpless like sheep without a shepherd, and we want to introduce them to the good shepherd, the one that we found and that we're following. So
100%.
This is our life. This is what we're to be about. This is who we are. So trying to get there, man, it's a tall task.
You kind of emphasized yesterday about, sending us out to go and find those sheep that are lost. And you said something that I think is important, specifically for, what we're doing here this week for the Holy Week, is finding those people who we know that aren't plugged into another church. Yes, we will fully accept people who are filling a move, filling a call from God.
God sends people here.
100%. We will take them in 100%, love them, and want them to be a part of our family. But we really want to encourage everybody to go find people that we know need this church.
For sure.
Need to be in an interaction and to be in a moment with them and Christ and nothing else, And so I think that was a really important emphasis because it could be really easy to go and hand it to somebody that's going to be at church. It might be their only time they go to church throughout the year, but they're going somewhere with their family. Like, bring it to somebody has no plans. Yeah. Like, bring it to somebody that you have that relationship with, that you can be like, hey, come join us. Come join us as a friend. Just come hang out with us, And like you said, man, it doesn't have to be anything crazy. But you put that emphasis yesterday, and I think that ties in directly with what you just said.
Yeah, I do think the dirty little secret about church growth is that the fastest growing churches usually are growing from people from other churches.
It is, yeah.
And that's the reality people don't want to talk about. Even we've had guest preachers here who. One time I said that on a Sunday morning, and that guest preacher had listened to it that morning and came that night, and I think he maybe felt like I was attacking him, and he was like, yeah, we don't want that transfer growth, but I just know his church is full of people who came from other churches. And listen, that doesn't mean God didn't send them there, but our mission can't just be to do a better product than others. We don't want people coming here because Caleb and our music team do so well, or because they like my style of preaching more than somebody else's. We want people, if the Spirit moves you here, come here. But we are existing not to just grow as a church. We are existing to see the lost found. We exist to fulfill the mission of Christ, which is to seek and save the lost. That's what we want to do. So we're not just trying to grow a big church. We want to reach people for Christ, starting in Buna, then Jasper County, Southeast Texas, and the world.
Yeah, but we got to have compassion to do that, man. Yeah,
That's right.
You're not gonna have
burnout
any,
happens without that.
100%. Yeah, and you're not gonna have any motivation. And I'm speaking from myself. Like, you're not gonna have any motivation to go and do that, to go and grab those sheep and bring them here, not so that you can save them, not so that you can work on them, so that you can just bring them here and let the Lord do what He does. But you're not gonna have any motivation to do that. You're not going to have the boldness to do that if you don't have compassion over them being lost, And I think that was a real big emphasis for me yesterday. I have the ability, obviously, because, that's what I do. It's what I do for a living. God's given me the gift, of speaking and teaching. But I struggle with having that compassion when I'm looking at a lost person. I can talk to a group of them, right? I can tell them all the right things, but when it comes to grabbing that person that I know that the Lord's telling me to at the grocery store, I struggle with having that compassion of thinking, man, that person needs this today. I struggle with that. And so that I think we got to have that. Again, that's why I think it was so important to talk about the compassion that Jesus showed us first, which is why we got to replicate that, man, if we want to do this.
Yeah. Yeah, so we have to pray and ask the Lord to change our hearts.
Yeah.
That's really the only thing we can do. So
Yep.
My prayer in these days is that the Lord would do that, not just for 1 week so we can invite people to Easter.
Yeah.
Listen, Easter's going to be crazy here. It always is. I mean, every church is going to be packed. We'll be packed, and we'll say, wow, look at this. But I'm talking compassion 3 or 4 weeks from now.
Yep.
I'm talking compassion Memorial Day weekend. I'm talking compassion the Sunday after VBS when no one's here. Or will you still have compassion for the lost that you encounter on a day in, day out basis? So, yeah, that's the heart, man. I want to encourage y'all to do that. And I want to encourage you, man, lean into Holy Week. Get in God's Word. Read the story of Jesus marching towards Calvary. And join us Good Friday at noon if you're available. Noon right here. A special service. We'll do communion together, the Lord's Supper. Read through the story of the crucifixion. And that'll be a meaningful time with our church family. Kiddos are welcome, as always. We're really excited about that. So that'll be at noon. And then 2 services, man. Sunday. Let's do it. 8:30, 10:45.
Yeah, man, it's exciting. We've been getting ready. We got everything ready, and so we just want y'all to come. Invite some people, man. It's gonna be awesome. So, if you want to sleep in, come to our second service.
You want to get up early? Come at 8:30.
If you want to go to the lake, come to our first service. I'm telling you, man. Make an excuse, and we will demolish it.
We'll find you.
Yeah, we'll find you. What a great way to end this.
We just wanted to tell you, we will find you.
Yeah.
I have a special set of skills.
It's going to be awesome, man. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this. You got anything else you want to close with?
No, we're good, man.
Holy Week.
The camera.
It's happening.
Holy Week,
You
baby.
point at that one, I'll point this one.
Jesus, Holy Week.
Yeah. Look, Caleb's looking. Caleb, make a cool transition to end this out.
Oh, well, let's point at all 3 of them. Boom, boom, boom.
Can you make a morph transition? You know what that is? All right, guys. We'll see you later.
See you later.
Bye.